Very nice first book. Congratulations.
Yeah.
I found your book very, very interesting, I must say. I like the way I like some 2 or 3 special things about it.
First of all, thank you, Dr. Karan Singh, for your time and for your presence and for all your guidance, and most of all, for your beautiful, lovely review that you gave on this book, my first book, Let the Mud Settle, the first book. And on top of the book, the publisher said that Dr. Karan Singh's remark must go on the top, just below your name. Yes, so, and I think that made a huge difference, Dr. Saab, for me as a feeling, and I think for every reader who reads your encouraging remark or the comment. I think we say that never judge a book by the cover. But I have a lot of friends who are saying that we are judging this book by the cover.
A book full of wise advice and creative suggestions for integrating the spiritual quest into our everyday life and relationships.
That's right.
I think the important thing is not only the quest, but also how do we integrate that into our lives.
That's right. That's right.
I found your book very, very interesting, I must say. I like the way I like some 2 or 3 special things about it. The way in which you have divided the book into sort of a progression, so you can go through it from beginning to end as a sort of a journey with the book. Secondly, it's written in a very simple style, and therefore it's a book easy to understand, particularly for people who are beginning the quest. I would very strongly suggest this book to them. And then also what I like about it is the fact that you brought in all the sort of people who matter. I mean, you brought in Gurdjieff, you brought in Khalil Gibran, you brought in Jalaluddin Rumi, you brought in all these people. Thich Nhat Hanh, who unfortunately just passed away. So yes. You've introduced us, or the reader, to a lot of other people, important people, great people. Just give them little hints about them.
That's right.
I think will be very useful.
Yes. I feel, Dr. Saab, a book is an offering or an expression of author to the world. And all these people, during my own journey, all these great beings from the Buddha to Thich Nhat Hanh to Rumi, they've all contributed immensely in my own personal sadhana.
To me also, each one of these, that's why they resonated so well with me. But each one of these has resonated with me.
And it's so beautiful, Dr. Saab, that each one of these beings have I won't say a different path, but I would say a unique path or a unique approach to finding the self. And the idea was to introduce them and their teachings through my own experiences to the readers, because you never know, somebody's reading who could be more inclined towards Shiva, who could be more inclined towards Buddha's way of nothingness, who could be more inclined towards the Nanak's way of, seva and love.
Did you bring in Vivekananda and Aurobindo at all?
No. Shri
missing. Those could have been brought in.
Could have been brought in. But I will be honest, Dr. Saab, that Shri Aurobindo, I have a deep love, affinity, respect. But I find his teachings, for me personally, for my limited intellect, difficult to grasp.
It won't work for me also, I must admit. Vivekananda, on the other hand, is Vedanta. It's something which I'll be propagating around the world. In the Vivekananda Radha Krishnan tradition. And that, I think, is very important.
That's right. I don't know if I should say that or no. Sometimes somebody who is too close to you, more like an elder brother, you kind of omit that introduction.
Yeah, maybe that's why.
Because I feel such a strong brotherly affinity with Swami Vivekananda.
One name that is missing in the book. So, Ramakrishna is there. I used to put him there.
Yes.
And of course, without Ramakrishna, there would have been no Vivekananda.
That's so true. Absolutely. And that is why, if you notice in the preface itself, Doctor, if you allow me, should I read a few bits?
You're most welcome. Yes, I've got a copy. Go ahead.
Just a few lines I thought because we talked about the journey in our pre-recording conversation. The preface itself starts from, and I say, this is not a book, but an inner journey on which we are traveling together. It is not an arduous journey where you walk barefoot, covered with cuts and bruises, or pass through dense forest of fear and loneliness. Rather, this is a beautiful path, simple, even, straight, and in reach of everyone, where we walk together, exploring the beauty of nature all around. Just this para, the reason I wrote it this way, because this book and spiritual journey for me is a journey, not arduous, not lonely. A lot of people say that, spiritual quest is a very lonely quest. I don't agree with that. And the reason I don't agree with that, because in the spiritual quest, you always have the blessing of the highest masters with you. And if your heart is open, you always have the support of your Sangha with you. And third, the existence is always showing you some hints, some pointers, some direction. So I've never found the journey to be lonely. It's a very guided journey, so to say.
Yes. That's what I said. I think it's a very nice guided journey.
Yes.
People, particularly for people who are not already on the path, if they want to join the path, or if they're still on it, I think it's a very, very useful journey.
Yes. And some days ago, I was listening to a very, very dear, I won't call it a friend, but somebody I really admire is Sri M. And he's known to you also.
Yes, I've had a dialogue with him also.
Yes, you've had and it was so interesting that, he's a mystic and such an evolved being. And to his close group of, people, he was giving a satsang, and he was kind of saying, why do you want to follow this path? This is a very difficult path. Don't look at it. Yoga is not that easy. And I understand, as a mystic, he wants to test people out. He wants to not scare them away, but he wants to make sure that, are you committed? Do you really want to walk the path? In this book, or in my teaching, the approach is almost diametrical opposite. I say things, I write things where I want to bring it to the reader or the person who wants to walk the path, saying that this is extremely simple, easy. There's nothing more easier than walking the path of truth in this life.
And stories you put in.
Sorry?
Stories and incidents that you put in, they are very, very interesting.
Yes,
about
yes.
the monks and about the Swami, that they illustrate, as it were.
Correct.
Your teaching.
Correct. And the idea was that look at the way the stories are. They're so nice and soft and easy to grasp, and so is the path. It's not difficult. So I want to encourage people to walk the path, not kind of scare them away that this is a very difficult path. You need to be a perfect yogi to be able to walk this. So I think there's a bit of a difference in the approach, and that's the reason you find the language very conversational. And instead of talking about the high philosophy, I'm introducing spirituality in your everyday life. The way you eat food, how do you view your relationship with work? What are your relationship with your own family people? Because spirituality is like, it must be living process.
And mindfulness.
Mindfulness, yes.
Whenever I shave, I'm very mindful. Which you should do, actually.
Yeah, but whenever I comb my beard, I'm very mindful. And if you've noticed that at the end of every chapter, whatever we've discussed in the chapter, I've kind of given a small something to do for the reader.
Exercises,
and there are variety of exercises so that people are able to not just intellectually understand a concept, but are able to do something about, implement it, make it a foundation for their life. Yes. So that's how the whole.
One of the big things that you say, that we have the gratitude. I mean, we have to be grateful for all that we have. The fact that we can think, we can read, we can see, we can eat, we can hear, this itself is a miracle. People are always looking for miracles. I think human consciousness itself is a miracle.
But the biggest miracle that there ever is. So on the book, I want to ask you a question, Dr. Saab, on the book, is, you people look at you as a scholar on Vedanta, an authority on Vedanta, and you've written so much, you've spoken so much on so many scriptures. And then, this small book, non-scriptural, so to say. And I'm so glad that you've read it and you've shared your appreciation of the book. How do you view this if I look at it from that context?
You see, the going through the texts is a different genre. You can go through the Upanishads. To me, the supreme texts are the Upanishads in Hinduism. I don't go to the Puranas or the Mahabharata. Even the Gita is a derivative text, as you know. Sarvopanishado Gavo Dohda Gopala Nandana Partho Vatsa Sudhir Bhukta Dugdham Gita Mridam Mahata. If all the cows were taken together, then Krishna is the cow herd, Arjuna is the one who drinks the milk, and the milk is the Gita.
Is the Gita.
So, but the real Shastras are the Upanishads.
That's right.
And reading the Upanishads is a source of tremendous inspiration and thought. They're not easy. Unlike your book, which is very soft and very easy, the Upanishads tend to be somewhat dense and somewhat very often ambiguous in their interpretations. But I think the two things are not really they're two sides of the same coin. You can go with your soft, gentler path, and for those who are interested particularly, they can take up the scriptural paths. I would say that for daily life, your path is probably simpler and easier than going through the Shastras.
That's right. And that was, Dr. Saab, one of the inspiration of writing the book. When in my own journey, very early on, I tried reading the scriptures and I picked up some Upanishad. and you see, at that time, your intellect is not really mature. And as you rightly use the word ambiguous, I felt this is really tough. Why did they make the path so tough? Somebody wants to, walk the path, wants to know the truth. It must be, please encourage the person.
You could be accused of oversimplifying.
That's true. That's true. And I'm often accused of that. That in mind, which I don't think you're oversimplifying. What you're doing is you're presenting it in a palatable and, understandable manner. That's right.
Doesn't mean it's not the same as oversimplifying, but that is something which you have to look out for.
But Dr. Saab, on a philosophical note, isn't life really overly simple?
Well, really, life depends what you mean by simple. I mean, life is full of ups and downs, full of events and full of sudden changes and unexpected developments and all. So to that extent, you can't say that life is necessarily simple, outward life. Inward life, if you are following it, is comparatively more simple. Wow. But there is continuity in the inner life, which is not available in the outer life.
That's so beautifully put. The way I describe it is that the outer life, which is manifestation of the mindscape, is extremely complex. See, in one house, Dr. Saab, you have to call somebody who's, let's say your son sitting in the next room. You will make a call which goes to a satellite. From satellite, it goes to a nearby cellular tower. And from that tower, the signal goes to the next room where your son is sitting. This is how the mind has made things so very complex. Earlier, I think our inner life was very simple. It's still very simple. You could just, shout, and the person next door will hear and will come running to you. So I think the outer life, the mind's expression is making it very, very complicated. But inner life, as you said, which I feel is the expression of the heart, is extremely gentle, extremely simple, extremely straight. Mind tend to make things extremely complex. This is what I feel. This is what I
think one of the points that you talk of meditation, you talk of prayer and all. Do you talk enough about love?
That's right. Shall I read something on that, Dr. Sab, if you allow?
Read something.
Yeah. And by the way, did you notice? I did not plan it. There are 18 chapters in the book. I did not plan it. But when this
That's what you would call a synchronicity.
yes, it was really synchronicity. And I think I feel really blessed. It feels like a signal from the cosmos that there are 18 chapters in the first book. Okay, let me read something on love since we talked about that. It reads, "It feels that humanity has lost its essence, the essence of love, which is the basis of everything in life. Nothing is permanent except for deep love."
I agree.
Now I'm explaining this in just 3-4 sentences. This is very interesting, Dr. Saab. I'm saying, when we were young, we had so much trust in others. If our parents asked us to jump from a tree, assuring us that they were there to catch us, we did not even think twice and we jumped. This deep trust is love. Second, I'm saying, whenever we were naughty or we messed up the house, our parents still accepted us. This acceptance is love. And I'm saying, look at nature. No matter what we are doing to the earth, it is still providing us with everything we need because nature is selfless. This selflessness is love. Then 2 more points on that. In this life, we are totally free to choose what we want to do. If we want to live unconsciously, life supports us and gives us freedom to do that. This support and freedom is love. And last, I'm saying, life respects our individuality and hence it has also given us the sense of I-ness. This respect is love. You see, in the young generation, I was talking to a few friends and they're saying that most of the issues they're facing is relationship. They've not been guided, how to evolve in a relationship.
I know.
Yeah, so perhaps we should.
It often become mutually destructive.
Correct.
That's why you find such a lot of unhappiness and all. Anyhow, it comes very well. I must congratulate you. If this is your first book, don't write too many books. Some people write too many books. You don't know which one to read.
I
This is
see.
a book one can really sort of prescribe and suggest to people. I'm so glad you carried my blurb on the front.
Yes. That's such a.
Does that help you, do you think?
I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does. As I said, people are now judging the book by the cover.
Then you go on ultimately to the conclusion, which is finding one's own self.
That's right.
That is the conclusion of the journey, is it not?
That's right, Dr. Saab. So from all the, the 18 chapters, when they culminate into the 18th chapter, that's where I'm talking about the ultimate truth now. So
what impelled you to write the book? Your students wanted it?
Yes, that's one. The student community was one. The other reason was, as I said, I felt that there are not many books written which are encouraging and making the journey so, let's say, inspiring and easy to put.
वो डरा देते हैं बाकी किताबें.
वो डरा देते. That's so true. That's true. And that was the whole agenda. Because 2 things. One, I feel, Dr. Saab, this is such a beautiful inner process. Life is not complete if you don't follow this process. It is such a nurturing process. So I want everybody on earth to follow this. I'm told we should do that.
Yes. Good translator or get a publisher who would publish it in Hindi.
That's a good idea.
A lot of people, young people now are coming up in Hindi and they would also need a book like this which would help them.
Yes.
That's one suggestion that I have.
That's an excellent idea. Yes.
I don't know how you translate "let the mud settle" into Hindi.
Yeah, I'm not the best.
Maybe you can have a more evocative name in Hindi.
Yeah, and I think that's allowed. No, you could have a different subject title. Yes.
Why not?
So I should talk to the publisher on that. So beautiful, so beautiful. Thanks a lot, Dr. Saab, for your
Not at all.
time and discussion on this book.
Mm.
I know we can go on and on, but I hope
Yes.
when we meet in person, we'll
Lots
talk
of
more on
gems,
this.
lots of gems in this book. I
Yes.
really like very much. For example, listening versus hearing. Hearing is different and listening is a different thing.
Correct.
People hear, but they don't listen.
If you see in lot of Shastra, they talk about the listening aspect.
Absolutely.
Upanishad gives a lot of emphasis.
Shravanam, Mananam. First of all, you got to hear, then only can you think.
Correct. Correct. Now, if I put it into Sanskrit or give the reference of the Shastra, it will be very difficult for people to,
You don't have
absorb
to
that. Yeah. So मैंने थोड़ा उसको कंटेम्पराइज किया है मैंने उसको.
हाँ नहीं बिल्कुल. You've contemporarized it. You've in some ways simplified it, but in a good way, in the good sense of the term. Very nice first book. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Saab.
हिंदी का करवाओ जरूर start.
Zarur, Dr. Saab. That's a great input. And coming from you, this appreciation means a lot, Dr. Saab.